If you've seen my other videos in the past, you know something's different right off the bat, because that is my trailer in the background, but I'm not camping. I'm not in the woods. I'm actually in dry dock right now. After a few months of traveling, I needed a little bit of a break. I need to plan my next trip, and I need to try some new modifications and experiments where I have real tools. And that's why I've taken just a little breather for a few weeks, and I want to try some new ideas. Now, it just happens to be today was Amazon Day, and I got some new stuff. This big monster right here. Now, if you've seen my videos over the last few months, you know that the last trip had its challenges, and it was almost entirely, the challenge was weather related. I'd never had so much rain, wind, whoa! Cloud, lightning, and it was a challenge to keep my power going because I'm boondocking. I'm off the grid most of the time, and the solar panels were not charging up my batteries because I keep getting stuck with these cloudy days and not having enough power to keep up my batteries and be able to use my refrigerator and my laptop and stuff like that. So I had to do something about it, and that's what this box is about. So let's open her up. Probably there's a few. Figure out what it is. And there you go. My name is Ringo Montoyo. You killed my father. Prepare to die! Okay, not only did that suck, but that was Princess Bride. But Princess Bride, Game of Thrones, all the same thing to me. We have blades. And we have big monster turbine with nose cone, flanges, all the various parts. It also includes the installation guide and a controller. I really don't have a lot of faith in this. A lot of people have suggested that I should try a wind turbine when my solar isn't working, but unlike solar just sits there, needs no attention whatsoever. This is going to be a real challenge. And solar doesn't have to be removed every time you travel. So before I go any further, I want everybody to understand what I'm trying to accomplish in this video. This is not a step-by-step instruction as to how to professionally install a wind turbine on a trailer, because it's unique. My trailer is unique, and I am not an expert on wind turbines. I am an experimenter, and this is my experiment. What I want to do and what I want to accomplish is in some way put this wind turbine on my trailer. And I have done a little bit of research, and I've seen what other people have done. A small wind turbine on an RV is nothing new, and I've seen many on my travels. However, they are mostly on large motorhomes with square corners for support, and not on small irregular shaped trailers like my own. But there's other goals as well. And the first goal is it has to be affordable. I know there's a multitude of salesmen out there who will tell you you've got to spend thousands of dollars on a wind turbine to make it efficient and all that, but that's just pointless to me, because if I had to spend thousands of dollars, I'd never get a payback. What I'm trying to accomplish is to just get a little bit more power when my solar panels are not working because it's cloudy like today. And if I have the wind, why not make it my friend? If wind power helps give me more electrical independence, I would never have to pay for a shoreline hookup ever again. Going online, you'll find lots of wind turbines to choose from in the $200 or less price range. All 4 of these companies sold the exact same turbine, so I chose the one with the coupon. They all had the same details and description with just a few different photos. But there was one promotional image that really caught my eye. It's a pleasant scene with a happy family out in the country with this bitchin' high-end RV. But something's not quite right in this picture. Look at the wind turbine. In proportion to the RV, this thing is massive, around 8 feet in diameter, and to make it worse, it's supported by an awning post. Well, this would certainly make me nervous, and it made the little girl nervous as well, as she's pulling on her father's arm saying, "Daddy, Daddy, it'll cut your head off." But Daddy's too sloshed, as him and Mummy have been dipping into the moonshine they scored in the mountains beyond. This is a terrifying scene, and it doesn't exactly sell me on the whole concept of a wind turbine for an RV, but I bought one anyway. I'm sure there's some that would argue that you should not buy the cheapest wind turbine if you want it to actually work for your trailer. And that's probably good logical advice. However, this is an experiment. And with experiments, I typically just get the basics. If it works, then I can upgrade later on. But what I'm not going to do is spend thousands of dollars on something that has not been proven for the application I need it for. So yeah, I bought the cheapest one. I bought it on Amazon. And just a note, if you're actually thinking of buying something online, make sure what the deal is if you have to return it. Because not everything, especially on Amazon, is fulfilled by Amazon. This is from China, and I got a phenomenal cheap deal on it because Amazon was not fulfilling it, which is great. I saved some money. However, if it doesn't work, chances are I'm not going to have a lot of customer support, and it's going to cost me money to return it if I can return it at all. The bottom line is, read the fine print as to who is shipping and selling the item. This one was not fulfilled by Amazon. My second goal is efficiency. I want this to actually work and generate power. Now it is 400 watts. However, I really have my doubts that I'm ever going to see that 400 watts. Chances are it's going to perform a lot less. And I'm okay with that, as long as it keeps up with the demand that I have, and we'll discuss that as we go along. My boondocking is mostly in remote locations, and I have a small refrigerator, lights, fans, and a laptop. But being self-contained means no access to power hookups. And my next 2 goals are a little bit more of a challenge. One is getting it set up and taken down in a reasonable amount of time, with few tools and not a lot of muscle power. Because what I want this to be is for a single person to be able to put this up by themselves and take it down in a reasonably short amount of time. And the other issue with this is storage. I have a little trailer and I don't have a lot of space to store big items like this. And yes, I know this is a micro turbine, but it still takes up a lot of space. So I have to solve that as well. Although I've made every effort to make my A-frame as roomy as possible, I also had to maximize the storage space. Along with cabinet storage, I also keep items under the seats, as well as under the bed. Space must be used efficiently, so wind turbine storage must be minimal as well. And the final goal, the one that's by far the most important, is however I set this up, I want it to be safe. I do not want this thing with its spinning blades to come crashing down in the middle of the night, go through my roof and onto me in the middle of my bed because something went wrong. That makes me nervous whatever I do, but I've got to minimize any impact on both myself, my trailer, and the people around me. So yes, safety is probably the most important goal. So step 1 is actually quite easy, but believe me, it gets more difficult. because all I have to do is put the blades to the hub, and they give you some little nuts and bolts and even a tool to do it with. Now, for this to be practical, and I'm going to go through this every step, I have to be able to assemble it quickly. If it takes up too much of my time, it's not going to be practical for a boondocker, because I have to take it up and down all the time. I don't typically camp more than a few days in one place. If you're a snowbird or something and you're out in the desert for several months, well, you've got it made, because chances are you're going to be at one spot maybe for 2 weeks or something like that. So you can take a little bit more time. But for me, time takes me away from traveling and hiking and taking pictures and stuff like that. So setup time has to be a minimal. So here we go. Blades are on the hub. So putting the hub on the body is pretty easy as well. But I'm not going to put the nose cone on yet. I just wanted to give you some perspective as how big this thing really is, because I've seen some videos and somebody will show it on the edge of their house or the edge of their big RV, and it's just this tiny little speck. But here, let me just get up and I'll give you some perspective as to how big it actually is. So there's my trailer, and this is the wind turbine. So you can see it's 4 feet diameter, the blades, plus, I don't know, maybe another 20 inches. And it's actually quite heavy. So, and of course, you have to make sure you have enough room for the blades to go around in any position, because you really don't know where the wind's going to blow. Well, now at least I have a partially assembled wind turbine, and it seems to spin okay. So far so good. But the next step is actually to put the turbine on the post. Now that presents a few problems. First of all, they provided the flange that is on the body and another flange which is supposed to be attached to the post. But here's the problem. It doesn't have anything to attach it to a post. You're supposed to weld a piece of pipe on it and slip it over. I don't have a welder, so I can't do that. So I'm going to have to find another way of putting this on a post. And I have to get a post as well. So now things are going to get a little bit more tricky. Well, I'm sure there's some out there who hoped I could do the whole thing from start to finish in one 15-minute video, but I can't. So it's going to be another couple of videos over the next few weeks. But in the meantime, I want you to check out somebody else's video. There's a friend I've got in England called Mark Hickling, who's done a conversion from an old pop-up trailer, you know, the ones that are pop-up with canvas, to an A-frame. That's simply amazing. You have to see it. I put the video link on the side. Check this out. And also check back with me in a few weeks, because I'll have more on this experiment. I think I need some wind.